You're watching Vihaba News. This is our series of providing the latest updated news on the agriculture sector, not just in Vietnam but also in the world. Here are the headlines today. The first part concerning the global coffee market. World coffee prices hit the highest level in recent years. Coffee prices in the world will continue to increase due to limited supply, climate change, the COVID-19 pandemic, and still increasing demand for coffee around the world. Frosty weather threatens coffee production and exports in Brazil. Coffee prices have continued to rise this year, largely due to frosty weather affected Brazil coffee production, the world's largest coffee producer. Coffee producing regions across Brazil were hit with major damage following the most severe frost to hit coffee farms. More than 200,000 hectares of land cultivated with coffee were so severely affected. Uganda coffee export reached a new record high. The drop in top producers' export as a result of COVID-19 restrictions and production slumps in others boosted the global coffee prices, with countries like Uganda and the rest of the East Africa reaping big in the process. The second part concerning the Vietnam's coffee market. Overview of coffee production in Vietnam in 2021. Vietnam is entering the coffee harvest season with many positive signals in price and output. However, the COVID-19 pandemic in coffee growing areas also significantly affected the production process. The price of Vietnamese coffee export to the highest level in nearly 4 years, continuously following the upward trend in recent years. The average export price of coffee in September has reached the highest level since December 2017. Vietnamese coffee is being boosted to German, US, and Italian markets. Vietnam's coffee export in the first 9 months of this year decreased in volume but increased in turnover, in which Germany, the US, and Italy are the main coffee consuming markets of Vietnam. The first part concerning the global coffee market. Also, there are more than 70 coffee producing countries. Most of the global production comes from only top 5 producers: Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, and Ethiopia. Therefore, the increase or decrease in supply from these 5 manufacturers is often decisive and has a great influence on the market. The global coffee market has seen coffee prices hit the highest level in recent years due to supplier shortages, and Brazil's coffee production has also decreased due to frosty weather. In that situation, Uganda coffee exports still reach a new record high. World coffee prices hit the highest level in recent years. Coffee prices in the world will continue to increase due to limited supply, climate change, the COVID-19 pandemic, and still increasing demand for coffee around the world. In September 2021, coffee prices reached a new record high as a monthly average of ICO composite indicator price was 170.2 US cents per LB, an increase of 6.2% as compared to 160.14 US cents per LP in August 2021 and 60.6% compared to August 2020, in which the price of Robusta coffee bean reached 104.6 US cents per LP, up 90.9% from August and surpassing 100 US cents per LP mark for the first time since August 2017. This was followed by Colombia Arabica coffee prices with an increase of 6.6% compared to the previous month. reaching 240.4 US cents per LP, and the highest monthly average since February 2012. Coffee market continues to be driven by weather in Brazil and COVID-19 related disruptions affecting the trade in Asia, while demand for coffee continues to grow. The arrival of frost in Brazil's key coffee plantations has strongly affected the country's coffee production. Brazil's Arabica production this year is forecast to drop by nearly 10 million bags compared to last year. In Vietnam, unfavorable weather factors also affected the main crop coffee harvest. Major coffee producing countries are dealing with the most severe COVID-19 outbreak, disrupting coffee production and reducing output. COVID-19 travel restrictions are also another problem for exporters who already face severe shortages of shipping containers and rising shipping costs. The transportation of coffee beans to ports faced many difficulties. Worldwide coffee demand continues to grow while coffee production declines. The United States Department of Agriculture (USDA) forecasts that the world's coffee production in 2021 to 2022 crop year will decrease by 11 million bags compared to the 2019 to 2020 crop to 164.8 million bags. Meanwhile, the world coffee consumption is forecast to increase by 1.8 million bags to 165 million bags, and ending stocks for coffee year 2021 to 2022 are expected to decrease 7.9 million bags to 32 million bags. The shortage of coffee supply could last for 3 years due to climate change and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Frosty weather threatens coffee production and exports in Brazil. Coffee prices have continued to rise this year, largely due to frosty weather affecting Brazil's coffee production, the world's largest coffee producer. Coffee producing regions across Brazil were hit with major damage following the most severe frost to hit coffee farms. More than 200,000 hectares of land cultivated with coffee was so severely affected. A preliminary assessment by Brazil's government signals that a recent frost may have slashed next year's Arabica coffee output by as much as 10 million bags, or more than one-third of annual purchases by the US, the world's top consumer. In September 2021, Brazil exported 3.1 million bags of coffee, down 26.5% compared to the same period last year, C Cafe said. Sales abroad of the Arabica variety of coffee dropped 24.9% to 2.4 million bags, while exports of Robusta beans plunged 51.8% to 326,045 bags. According to C Cafe, the export volume of Brazilian coffee in the period from January 1 to September 2021 reached 29.7 million bags, down to 4.1% over the same period, while the turnover increased by 6%, reaching 4.17 billion USD. The reason why Brazil's coffee export fell in 2021 was due to weather-related problems, especially frost affecting coffee harvest in Brazil. Brazil is experiencing severe frost with the coldest temperature in more than 25 years, threatening production in next year's crop. Powerful frost ravaged Brazil's Arabica coffee fields in recent months, hurting trees that were already stressed by the driest weather in nearly a century. Freezing temperatures kill young plants, which can reduce yields for years. Uganda coffee exports reached a new record high. The drop in top producers' exports as a result of COVID-19 restriction and production slumps in other boosted global coffee prices, with countries like Uganda and the rest of the East Africa reaping big in the process. COVID-19 pandemic restrictions in Vietnam coupled with bad weather in Brazil have helped Uganda record a 23% growth in coffee export earnings for the 2021 to 2021 coffee season to 629.8 million USD. The latest data from Uganda Coffee Development Authority (UCDA) shows that farmers exported 6.49 million 60 kg bags of coffee for the 2020 to 2021 season compared to 5.36 million 60 kg of bags for the 2019 to 2020 season. Italy maintained its position as Uganda's largest importer of coffee, accounting for 27.75% market share at the end of last month, followed by Germany at 12.28%, Algeria 11.03%, India 10.09%, and Sudan 9.5%. Coffee export to Africa amounted for 164,024 bags of a market share of 29% compared to 169,383 bags, 24% the previous month. However, Europe remained the main destination for the country's coffees, with a 50% import share, also lower than 61% in the previous month. The second part concerning Vietnam's coffee market. Vietnam is currently the second largest coffee exporter in the world after Brazil, especially for Robusta coffee. Vietnam is the world's largest exporter with a total annual export volume of about 11.6 to 11.8 million tons, with a turnover of 2.6 to 2.8 billion USD. Vietnam coffee has been present in more than 80 countries and territories around the world, mainly in major markets such as Germany, US, Spain, Italy, Belgium, and UK. At present, Vietnam is entering the coffee harvest season with positive signals, despite facing the COVID-19 pandemic along with production difficulties. The price of coffee increased promptly, with the highest level in nearly 4 years. Especially Vietnamese coffee is being boosted to major markets such as Germany, America, and Italy. Overview of coffee production in Vietnam in 2021. Vietnam is entering the coffee harvest season with many positive signals in price and output. However, the COVID-19 pandemic in coffee growing areas also significantly affected the production process. The USDA recently forecast that Vietnam's coffee production in the year 2021 to 2022 will recover and increase by 1.8 million bags to 30.8 million bags after a drought affected the growth of coffee trees last season. Currently, Vietnam is in the Arabica coffee harvesting stage and is expected to end in November. This is also the time to start harvesting the Robusta coffee, which usually falls in October to December. Vietnam's 2020 to 2021 is quite successful thanks to favorable weather. Coffee output remains at 26 to 27 million bags. However, the coffee is currently suffering heavy consequences from the fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has seriously affected the coffee production. It is difficult to hire workers to collect coffee as well as transport goods. This led to limited supply, causing the coffee prices to continue to set new peaks in September. The price of Vietnamese coffee exports to the highest level in nearly 4 years, continuously following the upward trend in recent years. The average export price of coffee in September has reached the highest level since December 17. According to the General Department of Customs, in September 2021, the average export price of Vietnam's coffee reached $2,093 USD per ton, up 4% compared to August 2021, and up 11% compared to September 2020. This is the highest average export price since December 17. In September, Vietnam's coffee export decreased by 10.2% in volume and 6.6% in value compared to August 2021. Compared to September 2020, an increase of 0.6% in volume and an increase of 11.7% in value, reaching 100.34 thousand tons worth 210 million USD. In the first 9 months of 2021, Vietnam's average export coffee price reached $2,884 USD per ton, up 9.2% over the same period in 2020. Coffee exports reached 1.80 million tons, worth 2.23 billion USD, down 5.4% in the volume, but 3.4% in value over the same period in 2020. Vietnamese coffee is being boosted to German, US, and Italian markets. Vietnam's coffee exports in the first 9 months of this year decreased in volume but increased in turnover, in which Germany, the US, and Italy are the main coffee consuming markets of Vietnam. German market. In the first 9 months of 2021, Vietnam's coffee export the most to German market with 181.14 tons, equivalent to 319.52 million USD, priced at 1,765.2 USD per ton, down 1% in volume but up 13.8% in turnover, and up 14.9% in price over the same period in 2020. Coffee exported to Germany accounted for 15.3% of the total volume and accounted for 14.3% of the country's total coffee export turnover. The US market. The US is the second largest market for Vietnamese coffee consumption. In the first 9 months of 2021, coffee export to the US reached 96,472 tons, equivalent to 189.42 million USD, priced at 1,963 USD per ton, down 30.9% in volume, down 5% in turnover, but up 10.2% in prices over the same period in 2021, accounting for 8% of the total export and turnover. Italian market. Coffee's export to the Italian market reached 100,464 tons, equivalent to 171.82 million USD, The average price was $1,710.3 USD per ton, down 11.9% in volume and down 4% in turnover, but up 9% in price, accounting for 8.5% of the total volume and 7.7% of the total coffee export turnover in the first 9 months of the year. That is it for Vihaba News here on Vihaba channel. Do stay with us because we will have many upcoming weekly news on the agriculture sector. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to find more news. Thank you for watching Vihaba News. See you soon. Bye.